edit this, so if you start saying something and you want to start over again, go ahead. You don't have to go in order. But yeah, if you please.
Are you going to be asking me questions?
I could, but I also just want you just to talk, and mainly about Orlando's Pizza, of course, and starting it here in Geneva and why you picked Geneva and all that.
Yeah, I don't want to get into my life story either too
No.
much. I want to talk about the business, not, well, this is what I was doing at the time, whatever, I think I know what to say, but stop me if you think I'm going off, because
Okay.
I do have a tendency to do that.
I like to keep it Geneva focused, because obviously that's what our big
Well,
our mission here is.
that's my point.
Okay. All right, so go right ahead and you can start.
Hi, I'm Ray Orlando. I was the founder and owner of Orlando's Pizza on the east side of Geneva. I opened it on October 3rd of 1973 in the corner of a laundromat. That's right, the corner of a laundromat. Was not too smart. I didn't think it would ever work, but it was worth a try because, well, I was 26 years old and didn't have that much to lose either. So my brother and I opened it up with help from our dad, and it was carry out only. And we started out fine, and we grew a bit, and then the laundromat eventually moved out, and we took over the space next door. After 3 years, I decided to buy out my brother, and he was agreeable to that. And so from there, things just started moving and moving and moving. I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce. I was on the board for 6 to 7 years. Met a lot of fine people, and really enjoyed the business and the town and the people in it. It was very important to me. And looking back on that, I would just say, I can't believe how wonderful an experience it has turned out to be. All the people I've met, families, friends, employees that stayed have friends. It was a real family operation, and everybody kind of knew everybody, and it was just a local place, The soccer teams would come in, the softball teams would come in, Little League. Mayor Burns, who's the mayor now, used to come in there when he was in high school. He keeps reminding me of that so I can remember my age. Thank you, Kevin. But he was nice enough to help me to obtain the sign, and Terry Emma, who runs the Historical Society, was nice enough to take one of the panels, and it's in the museum here. And so I don't know what else to say other than it was hard work, like most things are for a lot of people, but very well worthwhile. More than the money. I got more out of it than the money. So
Tell me about the big addition that you did. You transformed the place.
Well, let's see. So we opened in 73, and in 1983, I decided it was time to expand. We had some booths inside and a beer and wine license, but I wanted to put a new facade on the building, and I also wanted to add some tables and chairs to accommodate larger parties. With only having the booths in the regular restaurant, we could never really accommodate anybody over 4 people. So if you brought in a party of 8 or 10 or what have you. So by adding on the front, not only did we improve the appearance of the building, but we also gained a lot of good seating. And so if you called me up and said, I want to come in with 15 people, we could do it for you. And that was a big deal. A lot of people like to have some birthday parties there for the kids and things like that, and celebrate, etc. So the addition was designed by Dan Cantrell, who was a builder at the time. I knew Dan and his wife, Joyce, very well. Great family. Dan was in a slump like a lot of the builders. I was lucky he was available to do it, because normally he would not be. And he designed everything. He did all of the blueprints. He laid everything out. We contracted to sign a lease on the parking lot behind the gas station that was just to the east of us because we needed more parking. So we were able to work together and tie everything in. And Dan was a great guy to work with, very smart, and I don't think it would have turned out as good without him, to be honest with you. Eventually things did get better for him, thank goodness, and but I'll never ever forget him and how he helped me to really get that done the way that we wanted it to be done. The city of Geneva was always very supportive of the business, and that was appreciated as well. I guess I can't count how many people I met here that are just awesome. They're just wonderful.
Why did you choose Geneva?
Well, my father had a pickup and delivery pizza place in Lombard on Roosevelt Road. My younger brother had a friend that moved to St. Charles on the east side there, just up the road. And so he bought a house out here, and my brother decided to buy a house out here. And then he and my dad were out here one day, and there was an empty store for rent. There was a little strip mall just to the west of us. It was owned by Sam Frascona. And they had picked out a store there, and they thought this might be a good place to open up a pizza place. Now, you'd be limited to the pickup and the delivery service only. You'd never be able to expand because all the stores were filled, and there was a snack shop on right on the end of the stores there. Well, they asked me if I'd like to come out there and maybe we could open something up. Well, sure, I got out there and I kind of looked it over. I don't know why. I just didn't really care for that. I wasn't being fussy, but I just decided to walk across the parking lot and saw the sign. It said, "For rent," in this little corner of a laundromat. And I said, wow, I wonder if we could put it in here. So I contacted the landlord. They have no objection, to us opening up in there. Now, you had to walk into the laundromat to get into our place. We didn't have our own entrance. But they didn't care because it was a coin-operated laundry, so they stayed open anyway. Well, we got in there and we measured, the ovens that my dad had, a couple of old ovens and an old pizza roller, and they measured everything, and we could just get everything in, just be able to get it in to make it work. And we opened up the doors and started selling some pizza. And the first night we sold, the pizzas then were about $2. We probably sold 40 pizzas, maybe 50. And that was a great start. I said, wow, we took in $100. He going, $100, what's that? Well, when your rent's $110 a month, it's not so bad. It's a good start. Everything's relative, So it was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was really something to just experience. I've been very, very fortunate.
Did you have any strange requests or orders that you can remember?
Strange requests for orders. Not really, except I had a call one night from a fella that used to order every Friday. Now, I want to say this in an appropriate way, but he liked to have a smoke now and then, but he wasn't smoking cigarettes, but he was a nice guy. He really was. And every Friday he'd order a 12-inch cheese and sausage pizza, and we'd have it delivered. Thank God he didn't drive, because I'd tell him, you're not coming in. So, not my place to judge somebody and what they do in their own home, so, hey, I'm going to make them a pizza. Well, we had somebody new on the oven, and we would cut that pizza into 12 squares. And because the fella on the oven was new that night, he cut it into 9 squares. So the guy called me. He was having a good time when he called. And he pointed out to me that he got shorted 3 slices of pizza. And I said, sir, it's a 12-inch pizza. Whether I cut it or not, you got the same amount of pizza. I said, man, you owe me 3 slices of pizza and I'm not letting you out of it. I said, fine. Next time you call, you ask for me. We'll cut it into 16 squares. He said, now we're talking. So that was about the funniest thing I think that ever happened. And it was just funny. I guess that's about the best I can share with you of the stories, but that was pretty crazy. Yeah. But I didn't know what else to do because I didn't want to lose a customer. So that's what I did. Anyway.
I remember you guys had a salad bar.
Yeah, that salad bar really turned out to be something. I didn't really make much money on the salad bar. But you know what was nice about the salad bar? Mostly is that the server would, if you ordered one, then you already had a plate in your hand and you can go up and you can help yourself. So if we were a little bit busy in the kitchen and we got a little behind, you order a salad bar, you order an appetizer, and it gets somebody eating, especially if they're hungry. And salad bar did very, very well. It was a great tool, for us. Keeping it looking really good all the time, keeping it fresh all the time. That's the key. It's got to be, you can't let things like run down and look terrible and things like that. And eye appeal is everything on a salad bar. I can't tell you how many people walked up there before they ordered it and walked around it, and we all do that anywhere we go. The salad bar ended up to be something that was probably one of the things people like to come in there for. Maybe somebody didn't want that much pizza, so they said, hey, I'll have a salad bar, and instead of eating this much, I'll eat that much. Anyway, that worked out well. The sandwiches, they worked out well. We tried a couple of pasta dishes. They didn't work out so well. Unless it's a pasta dish, somebody can't make it home. It's really nothing out of the ordinary. Most people can open up a jar of sauce and heat up some pasta, or sometimes they have one of their own recipes. So I'd say the spaghetti did not work that well. I think one of the things that helped me a lot was our family night on Tuesday. I had talked to somebody that I had worked for, and I had worked for a couple of larger restaurant chains for some time as a manager. And so he said, there's a guy out by me that has a pizza restaurant, and every Tuesday, which was always an off night, he said they have a family night special, and for $6.95, you get a large pizza and a pitcher of soda or beer. I said, well, I don't know if you can make money at that. He goes, they're lined up. I said, well, I got a restaurant to fill. So I figured out the cost of it and everything. I thought, it's probably not going to make a lot of money, right then, but it's going to bring in traffic. So I had a meeting with my servers, Well, how the heck are we going to make any money? It's $6.95, a 15% tip. We're only going to make $1. I said, well, there's a salad bar there. Maybe they'd like a salad bar. I'm going to put that on special for 99 cents, okay? We'll give them that for 99 cents. And we have appetizers, and they can take an extra pizza home if they want. They can order more than one. They can't take any alcohol out of the restaurant, and they cannot take any soda out of the restaurant. So they can buy the pizza for $6.95 if they want an extra one, and it's got to be dine-in only. Okay, I said, you guys are going to be surprised. This might work. So we put some ads in the Chronicle, and started to get busy and busier. And finally, I had to get a hostess because we had waiting lines, and she had to take names and everything else, and it got to be a tradition with people. Every Tuesday they would come in the place. But then, it made a little bit of money, but the volume was really good. And then when somebody thought maybe on a weekend, hey, well, let's order a pizza. Well, guess what? They ordered from Orlando's. So it was good building of the business, having the family night. We had to raise the price along the way, as times went on. But even toward the end there, I think it only got up to like $8.95. And you say, well, how do you do that? Well, I'm not sure, except that you put the pencil down to everything and what it costs you to, for the pizza and the soda and the beer and everything else, and then, you sell an extra pitcher of soda. That's all. That's a high profit. You sell an extra pitcher of the beer. That's high profit, and it's a win-win for everybody. The house has to make money always, and the customer gets the benefit of, hey, this is a great price. And some people just came in, spent the $6.95, and the wife and husband and the 2 kids had their family night special for $7 and $1 or $2 tip. So it was a win-win for everybody. And it was great. And people used to talk about it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I still owe that guy for that great idea. I would have never thought of it, but I guess I got lucky. So.
Didn't you have a contest too to go somewhere, win a trip?
After the 10-year anniversary, we had just opened up the remodel place. Not opened up, but we were ready with the remodel place. And we opened in 73, so that was in 83 and when we had all the thing. And I thought, you know what, let's have a sweepstakes. We'll have a contest. And we're going to have it was for a 10-year anniversary. And so the first trip was a trip to Vegas for 2 people. I forget the second prize and the third prize. I know the Historical Society has it in the scrapbook because they gave them, and I've got it at home. Well, it turns out I went to Geneva Travel Agency, and we worked out, what it would cost me, and they were nice enough, and I think that I advertised them that it was, with them. So we got it down to a pretty good price, for the trip to Vegas for 2. And then we had a drawing, and you had to be present to win. I know it's how it sounds, but, I wanted to sell pizzas, so we sold. It was quite a busy night. It was quite packed, and we were going to have the drawing. I forget who drew the ticket or anything. And the man who won the trip, his son used to work for me when he was 16, and it was wonderful. It was like, of all the people that you wanted to win, this was, you know what I mean? Him and his wife won the trip. And I was just on top of the world. I said, man, this is great.
So how'd they enter? Just a raffle ticket?
Yeah, I think I had a box there, and you used to fill out. Yeah, there was an entry blank. I think you have it in your in the scanning. That was it. I'm pretty sure. Now this is going back 37 years, so and I can't quite remember everything. But I remember the entry blank. I remember you had to enter. And I remember you had to fill it out, and you put it into a container. I think you could enter as many times as you want. So we had quite a few of the tickets in there. I wish I could remember who drew the ticket. I don't know if it was my daughter or one of the employees or somebody. No, I don't think it was my daughter. In fact, I think I wanted it to, and I don't think it was an employee. I think I wanted it to be somebody at random. I didn't want anybody to pull the ticket that was associated with the restaurant, just because I thought that's how it. I think I just kind of, picked somebody and said, hey, how'd you like to draw the ticket, or something like that. So that sweepstakes really worked out good. And then I didn't know it at the time. I found out afterwards. I didn't get scolded, but I got told by somebody in the city that, it's against the ordinance to have a raffle. I said, well, guys, I didn't. And they go, it's okay. We knew it was harmless, and it's fine. It's not like you did it every week. I said, no. I said, and it won't happen again. And they said, that's fine. That's why we didn't say anything. We just let it go. So, when I say the city kind of, I'm sure the city probably thought, hey, this guy just spent a lot of money. It was a lot of money at the time, to fix everything up and make his property look nice. And so he wants to have, this is like a one-time raffle thing. So, not a big deal. Certainly not a felony anyway.
Did you make your own sauce and own dough?
Yes, every day. Sauce and dough. Our vegetables were all fresh. We didn't use anything canned or frozen. Highest quality of everything I could find. Cheese, flour, tomatoes, spices. Never skimped on that at all. I'd rather raise the price if I had to, even if it was a half a dollar a pizza or 25 cents. Can't compromise the product. It's got to be there. And the recipe for the sauce was from my grandma. The dough recipe was from my father. My father was a real perfectionist. Everything, the product had to be perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You know, he said, you can do everything else you want. You can have all the promotions you want. You can do everything you want. If that product's not right, you're wasting your time. Eventually it'll catch up to you. So we started, that had to be right, and that's what he did. So his place in Lombard was a big success, only carry out, but we had like 4 delivery vans, that were constantly going, and he knew what he was doing, and I'm fortunate, And all those recipes, the sauce recipe which I still have, of course, is really good. I think I'm a little prejudiced. The trick to the sauce is, though, you can never use it the same day you make it. You see, the same with spaghetti sauce. So here's a tip for you. It's got to sit at least one day. Those ingredients all have to absorb with each other. So it's important, and that's a freebie.
Thanks. Being Italian, I'll take that.
It was a good product, I thought. There were other products out there that other people liked also. Some actually preferred them. Everybody's taste is not the same, but...
What was the competition like? Was Alfano's in business?
No, when we got there, we had Eddie's Pizza in St. Charles, and we had a place called Jim's Pizza on the river, and then I think there was one in Batavia, maybe. I forget, Sarah Jane's or something. So even though the population wasn't that great out here at the time, we were in a good spot with a good product, and I think it was nice to have something on the east side of Geneva, and I think the residents on the east side of Geneva were kind of anxious to have something over there because most of the business was concentrated on the west side. And I understand why. That's where the traffic was. That's where, if I could have put it there, that's where I would have put it. But I couldn't afford to be over there. So I think we were in the right place at the right time, but we also did something about it. And that's something, you still have to do something about it. You can be in the right place at the right time, but you still have to act, if you know what I mean, So had some breaks along the way, had some disappointments, had ups and downs, but had more ups and downs, so can't complain. I just really liked the place.
Any fun stories about your staff?
Oh, my staff. Oh, boy. Oh. Oh,
You don't
boy.
have to say any names. You can just...
I had a guy that was delivering pizzas for me. I'm not saying any names.
No, don't. You don't have to.
And he was just a weird bird, a weird guy. Well, he wasn't. He was a young. He was like maybe 19 or 20, 18, 19, 20. And every few months he'd change his name. He'd ask to be called something else. So I'm not going to tell you his name, but one year I came back from vacation. I was looking at the schedule, and I said to my manager, John, I said, this was right around the holidays. I said, who the heck is Yule Loggins? Like the fire, like a Yuletide log. He goes, it's so-and-so. He did it again. I go, yeah. I said, okay. One name change a year, tell him. That's it. Because he started changing his name every few months. We'd change the schedule. I said, I'm not changing the payroll checks. You're getting them in you're getting them in your legal name. And then one time he was Fletcher Donaldson. Where he got that from, I don't. He goes, I want to be called Fletcher Donaldson. I said, okay. I said, can we call you Fletch? He said, absolutely not. I said, okay. Look, so-and-so. That's it for me. You went from Hugh Loggins to Fletcher Donaldson. I know I can say his first name was Brian. That's what I'm going to say. You are done with the name changes, okay? Everybody's confused, okay? So it's got to stop. I'm trying to run a business here. But he was reliable. He delivered pizzas. He was on time all the time. He did a nice job. He was always well-groomed. Never had a complaint on him. He worked for me for over a year, which, say, wow, a whole year. Well, these little part-time jobs, they come and go. Then I had two sisters that used to work for me. Oh, and my memory escapes me, and I can see their faces too. And they were fantastic. Then I had another two sisters that worked in the kitchen. They were fantastic. I got to a point where I was hiring every high school girl I could hire because they were more reliable than the guys were. They were always neater and cleaner, you know. I didn't have to worry about sending somebody home and saying, you know, the shirt looks like you just unrolled it out of a knapsack, you know. Go home and wash your face and comb your hair, you know. And the girls did a nice job. And I was real happy with them. And I actually had a female manager, you know, Donna Farley. She did a wonderful job, you know. But then she was on to a career. These are jobs that people don't really, this is not your life's work, you know what I mean? It's a small restaurant, and it's my life's work, but for them, you know, they always did well by me. I never had any real problems with anybody there, I would say. We did have an incident there with some, this is an interesting story, I think. I think it's a real good story, really. I do, but maybe nobody else does. We had I had a lot of Hispanics, younger guys and girls that were working for me. And they were really good people, good families. And I got to know, you know, the parents and everything. And sometimes there was, the brother would work and then the sister would work. I had a family there where the mother worked, the son worked, and the daughter worked. And they were wonderful people. Well, my wife at the time decided to leave her purse open in the storeroom. I don't know, it was probably an accident, but she had like about $200 in cash that was sticking out when you could see it. And at the end of the day, it was gone. So I had a meeting with everybody, and I said, whoever took the money, I need you to come forward, and I need you to return the money. And you're not going to lose your job, okay? 2 days went by, and a young man came with his dad, and his father was really upset. And he told me he took the money, and he gave it back. I said, well, you know what? I'm proud of you. It was impulsive. You're 16 years old. It's a lot of money. You see it, and you grab it. I hate to say it, but I might have done the same thing. I suppose I don't have a job. I said, you certainly have a job. And he went on to become an underwater welder. Big, big career. Really a nice kid. Just made a little mistake, but corrected it right away. And the dad was there with him. The dad was very unhappy. So, you know, they're very proud people, and they want their families, you know, they were proud people and raising their children to be good, honest, hardworking people. So you have to respect that. Never had a problem with him since. His brother worked there. Really nice family. We never talked about it. Never came up again. Nobody ever knew who took it and who returned it. And if he wanted to tell him, he could tell him. There was a turning point for him. Those are stories that happen. You say, well, it has nothing to do with the pizza place. But if I had fired that kid, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, he would have never got the message. The message was, I made a mistake. I'm giving back the money. You still have your job. So those are things that you take with you too. Not just taking home the money. So anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat. I had a lot of great kids working there. And I was...
How about your menus? Who designed your menus?
The menus at first were just little cards, you know. Like, I think you have them. I think the first small cheese pizza was $1.85 or something, and if you save 20 cards, you got a free large pizza with cheese in one item or something. And we had quite a few people saving those cards, you know. And some of them, they kept them so neat, we could reuse them and cut down on the printing costs. I mean, you know what I mean? So, my father had those at his store, so we just kind of went off that. And then when we had the seating, then we had to change some things. And I kind of designed some things, but at the end, I think I got somebody in there to design the last menu. I believe so, or to help me with the colors and everything like that, and try to tie in things, you know. And then we just had the carry-out menu was identical to the inside menu. It was the same thing. Obviously, you couldn't take out the salad bar, but you could take a salad, or you could make a salad and take it home if you wanted, you know, stuff like that. We tried to keep the menus pretty simple, you know. We didn't want to go off into like shrimp and chicken and ribs and stuff like that. It wasn't necessary. Complicates things for us. It was still, even with moving over into the other side where the laundromat was, it still was not a large square footage space. So we were kind of limited to what we could actually produce out of there. I really wanted to make sure that whatever came out of there was always really, really good, and you know, that was important.
I remember you were always I worked at the high school for 10 years, and you guys were always very supportive of any fundraising and all those kinds of things. You got involved. Yeah,
we were, and it was important for the community, and it was a two-way street, you know. I mean, that's what makes it all work, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's face it. Yes, it helped bring in some business, but also it was for a good cause. I don't know how else to explain it. Maybe somebody would say, well, that's being, you know, are you being selfish? I don't think so. I think that's just what relationships are. I think relationships are give and take in business and in your personal life, you know, is just the way things are. Oh, I do remember a story now. Sure. We had Italian beef sandwiches on the menu. Now, the people out in Geneva used to call them Dago beefs. Well, you know, for some Italians, that's kind of a slur, you know, and today they probably wouldn't like it, but you know, you want to say Dago, say it. It didn't bother me, you know. So my brother and I are in there, you know, working one night, and some guy comes in. He was a cab driver. I'll never forget him. He goes, give me 2 Dagos to go. I said, I'm afraid my brother and I are the only 2 here, and we can't leave, so. He said, no, I mean the beef. I said, okay. Did you mean Italian beef? You know what I meant. I said, okay, 2 Dago beefs, okay. So we didn't care, you know, because it was good. It was good-natured. It wasn't meant to hurt someone, you know. That was what they called them. And the Little Owl had a really good Italian beef sandwich, too. I used to go down there and see, I think it was Bob Arbazani. I think he passed away, Bob, if I'm not mistaken. Really a good guy. And I used to go down there and have his beef sometime too. And then there was the Geneva Mining Company opened up, and there were 4 partners in there. And one of the partners was Alex Rulo. Now, Alex now works for Remax. He's his own, I think he's an independent realtor. I think he has his own office, he and his wife. And Alex and I still talk 40 years later. We were kind of competitors, but their business was more of a bar business. But they sold pizza. They were on the west side of Geneva. I think it's where the Old Town Pub is right now. And Alex used to come in my place and pick up pizza every once in a while. And I kind of got to know. I said, why are you buying pizza if you got your own pizza? He goes, I like your pizza. I said, well, of course you do. We'd joke around. He called me one night and he said, we're out of mozzarella cheese. Could you loan me a couple of bricks of mozzarella cheese? 5-pound bricks. I said, Alex, you know, I never help my competition that way. I mean, you're a nice guy, I said, but I never feed my competition. It's just ingrained in me. It's nothing personal. He goes, I need a couple bricks of cheese. Help me out. I'm one of your customers. I go, okay, yeah, I think you got me there. So we still joke about it today. I said, you're the only person I ever met that was a competitor of mine that I would loan food to. He said, yeah, but I was a customer. I said, you got me there, you got me now. Alex is a great guy, great guy. He actually sold my house in St. Charles for me, and really like Alex. Saw him a couple months ago, in fact, and he's just a first-class guy. And then eventually, I think they opened up the Geneva Deli, and then they had one of the bars, and then, you know, as most partnerships do, they kind of went their separate ways. And it was hard enough having one partner with me and having another 3 partners. I couldn't even imagine everybody, you know, all trying to be on the same page, especially when you're in that stage where you're all young and you're trying to grow and you don't really know as much as you think you do, you know, because we all knew everything, of course. But I'm sure I could come up with some more, but I think the guy with the 9 slices of pizza I think that's the topper.
What's it like for you today when you drive by that corner?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's it's just great. Just a lot of good memories.
Well, thanks for sharing them with us today.
I get a little emotional.
We're Italian, it's okay.
I was very lucky.
Well, you made great pizza.
Yeah. My pizza was good enough for my competitor to buy it.
There you go. Who else can say that?
So the emotion part I could do without. It's a little embarrassing, but I get that way. It's an Italian thing too. I think I get a little bit emotional, and I'm very emotional about the restaurant because of the memories and the people.
It's your passion.
So,
Thank you, Ray.
it's my pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Oh, this is wonderful to share. Like I said, when I met you to pick up the sign, I said, our file on you had very little.
Yeah.
Now we've got stories, we've got personal accounts, we have your sign, we have the scans. I think you gave us a hat. So
I think
now-
I gave you an apron and a hat and things like that.
So now you, Orlando's, it will be permanently remembered here at the museum.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal because it's more than money.
Yeah. That's That's what makes a good business.
And it's that way with a lot of the businesses here in the small town. It's not just the black and white of it, you know. I mean, I could tell you other stories too, but it would sound like I would be patting myself on the back, and I don't want to do that. But we did have a kid there one day. He rode his bike to work in the winter with no coat, and I said, "James, where's your coat?" "I don't have one." "You don't have one?" "No, we can't afford it." "You rode your bike in the cold with no coat." I told so-and-so, I said, go and buy him a coat right now. I said, you go with him and don't be long, because you're both working. And I don't know where I sent them. Or I said, and I expect you right back. And I said, and you're paying for the coat out of your pay. I said, he goes, that's fine. I said, don't worry, I won't take too much out at once. I said, but you're gonna, but you have to learn, you know. I mean, you have to pay. And we got him a coat. He turned out to be a pretty successful young man. I'm trying to remember what he went into, but he did very, very well. But those are the things that you remember, those stories, like the Dago beef and the 9 slices of pizza and the guy changing his name and the this and the that, you know what I mean, and the sweepstakes and all that. Those are things, there's just a lot of memories there, just a lot of good stuff there. That's why when I drive by that lot, I'm not upset that the building's not there. I'm not upset the restaurant's closed, because there's so many people know it. I mean, a little tiny restaurant that meant something to so many people. It's a big deal to me. I never imagined that, because it was just like a little speck, but it really wasn't, see? So that's the important part to me. I got to stop being so emotional.
It's okay.
Thanks, Terry.